Welcome everybody to the Watchlist, where we review all the shows released on streaming right here on the Latin Ners Network. And of course, we set you up at the end of the show for what's coming out, what's being released, so you can create your very own watchlist. This is the show for those who don't know what's coming out or think there's nothing on TV. Nonsense. You know, anybody like that, tell them to join us here on Sundays, midday, every week, and we'll let you know exactly what you should be watching and avoiding. We'll take the hit. We'll watch a shitty show so you guys don't have to. That's how we do it here. Let me introduce my co-host who doesn't always watch this shitty shit, so I get stuck alone on that, but that's okay. That is, of course, live from Houston, the ambassador of love, is Senor Jaime, a.k.a. Chewy. What it is, brother?
Happy Sunday, brother. What's going on?
Do it. We got a busy week this week. There's a lot of week this week, but next week's kind of light. So next week's what we call the catch-up week. So we get a time to catch your breath, finish up some shows, because there's a lot of stuff going on now. Across pretty much all platforms, got something going on for the most part. This week we had a documentary, we had a movie, we had a few new shows here and there. Next week we're going to talk about some stuff in March that you guys may not be watching or keep your eyes on that we enjoyed, that you guys should go back and watch next week and moving forward. That being said, Chewy, let's get to it here. Let's start with the film. But we'll start with the movies first before we get to the shows. And I think there was a couple that came out. I want to get a chance to see one. This is the one we actually mentioned was coming out on Netflix. That's the Black Crab. Noomi Rapace, saying that name right. Yeah, so it's one. I think it just takes place in Sweden. It's a Swedish show about post-apocalypse. I guess some kind of some kind of war. Yeah. IKEA went under. Everyone went crazy. It's just whatever. It's war-torn Sweden. You don't hear that every day. And I guess one of the factions, they get a group together to have to deliver a canister that's going to tilt the scales in their favor to end the war. They chose like 6-7 individuals led by Noomi Rapace, and they actually have to skate across. This is weird. Skate across a large body of water to get to the point to deliver the thing. Damn Swedes, right? So, so Chewy, I'll get your thoughts on first as far as what you thought about this one.
I didn't watch.
You didn't see it?
I read some reviews, and I was like, you know what? I got so much other better stuff to watch. I was like, I pass.
I'll take it for the team. So I did see this one, and like I always say, with 30-40% shit on Netflix turns into movies anyway. 40 to 50s, meh, and about 10% good shit. Like legit good movies like The Adam Project we saw last week, which we really enjoyed. I'm debating whether this is part of the 30-40% shit or the 50%. I'm not sure. For now, I'll say it's fine. Listen, it's just weird because they're in the war. They don't explain anything, so it's hard to get. As far as world building, you want to set up what the deal is. Why is it so important? Yeah, they want to end the war, but for what? We don't know if they're good or bad. We have no idea. We assume the other faction is the bad faction. Fine, fair enough. And there is a certain motivational tactic used by a superior Rapace's character to get her to kind of really go full force here and go into what's pretty much a suicide mission. But I knew what that was. It's not really a twist, but it's so obvious what they did to her. It didn't make any sense. But yeah, it's mediocre at best. It has some cool moments, but it just didn't pay off in the end. It just
I'm glad I skipped it.
Yeah, it's like I said, horrible. I don't want to kill the movie that much, but if you want something Swedish, go get some meatballs at IKEA. I think better time you 2 hours. It's just okay. It's fine. I didn't hate it. If you're looking something to scratch that itch, whatever, buyer beware. But I'm not recommending that much. Chewy, you probably were wise and not really wise. You didn't miss a whole lot, to be honest.
I'm glad. I thought the synopsis didn't really grab me. Okay, whatever. Yeah, but then when I saw with the Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, you know what? No, I don't have time. I don't have 2 hours to break.
No, I get it. Yeah, it's one of those where I took it for the team. That's what we do here. So, yeah, I'm leaning towards just not seeing it for you guys. Period. But again, if you're a big fan, I guess, of the genre, I'm not really sure what genre this would be. And it's not really a war kind of thing, or thriller. But
Swedish dystopia.
Whatever. You're bored as hell. You're on your phone. Want some background shit on there? Okay. Fair enough. It is
Swedish dystopia with a French actress. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Whatever. And they don't even say Sweden. You defer that's
Yeah,
infer
you
that it's
assume.
Sweden.
Okay.
They just whatever. It's just like the world building is very terrible. Recently. Let's go documentaries. So stick with Netflix. This got released
Okay.
in the middle of the week. The Great Robbery of Brazil's central bank, Brazil. Latin Ners Network. We support anything Latino. So I watched it. 3 episodes, docu-series about obviously a great heist of one of the big bank in Brazil, right? This group
Son of a bitch.
yeah, it's a group of individuals that found a way to infiltrate through digging a large tunnel through underneath the city to get to the vault, and then the investigation ensues afterwards and all that. So Chewy, now you get to go first as far as your thoughts on a documentary.
This was not very good. It was the first episode, maybe the first episode and a half were interesting because they go into the details of the heist. Right now, that's probably the most interesting aspect of this.
Right.
I mean, the amount, was like 30 million plus, so it was a sizable amount, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think it was the biggest heist.
Well,
yeah. It's 165.
Yeah. Once I 165 real, but when I converted to US dollars, it was like 31,
Right,
32 million.
Sure.
Pre-inflation. But so the interesting part was how they when they go through the tunnel building was really very intricate, right? It's not building one tunnel from A to B. I mean, they had to avoid pipes, sewers, electrical, get into the room. So that was interesting. But the rest of it was just like, it was just not interesting.
Yeah, it was very dry.
I had to fast forward.
Yeah, it was dry. Yeah, I stopped at the second one. I'm like, I just
okay.
The idea of it is great.
The third one was probably the worst because that's
Okay.
when they were attacking people. I mean, like these guys really didn't get away with it, right? I mean, I think they knew from the very beginning who was involved, so they weren't criminal masterminds in that respect, and they were getting picked up, weeks after this whole event. So I was didn't cover their tracks very well.
yeah. After you can learn how they pull off the heights, which is the best part, which was only one episode. Yeah. I mean, maybe 45 minutes of the first episode, the first hour-long episode. After that, just the cops talking about investigation. It just got boring. It just wasn't interesting. They gave us the cool part. I'm like, okay. So yeah, it kind of meandered around. Like I said, I didn't finish watching it, and I like these kind of documentaries, and Netflix does pretty good with these.
No, I saw once like 5 minutes of the third one. I was like, okay, I'm fast forward.
Yeah, I couldn't and I had that.
I'm out.
Yeah, I was like, I should watch the third one. Let's go to Black Crab, which is probably a better choice, despite my feelings on Black Crab. To be honest with you, that's how much I feel about this documentary in particular. So yeah, not a recommend in any part. I'm not surprised you've kind of wanted to say wavelength as I. Let's go to HBO Max. They dropped a couple shows this week. The first one, which we talked about last week, and that's DMZ. Based off DC property, Ava DuVernay directing it. We had the great Rosario Dawson, Puerto Rican Boricua in there. We have Benjamin Bratt, of course. He's got some Peruvian blood in him, so we support all that stuff. So we have a post-apocalyptic scenario here. Nothing new in terms of that.
I don't know if this is... I think we're misclassifying this, right? And this is not post-apocalyptic by any stretch of imagination. It's not. Post-apocalyptic, no. We know post-apocalyptic. Walking Dead, that's post-apocalyptic.
Okay, that's fair. This is more of a war-torn.
No, not Minority Report. Sorry, what was the other one? Oblivion. That's post-apocalyptic.
That's fair. That's fair. This is a war-torn situation where we got civil war breaking out in the United States. There's obviously the DMZ is a demilitarized zone, obviously neutral territory, and the people who reside in this are usually people of color, right? We have people in Spanish Harlem, Chinatown, etc. And all vying for positioning in terms of, political ascendance, if you will. Benjamin Bratt is one of them.
Independence, I guess.
Right. They want to get independence, but they're vying for the governorship of this area, right, to take control. So Rosario Dawson, she's a nurse. She's actually in the U.S., one of the parts of the U.S., and she infiltrates the DMZ to find her son, who's been missing for a year. She lost him when everything went down. She finally tracked him down to that area, so she goes in to find out where he's at and try to bring him out. She finds out things aren't exactly what they're supposed to be. Chewy, age before beauty, as they say. So what'd you think about this one? I think they dropped 4 episodes. I didn't know it was only 4 episodes. I thought it was more.
I don't know. No, I think this is only 4 episodes.
It is. I looked it up. Only 4. Yeah.
Yeah, that already is leaving a bad taste in my mouth.
Fair.
Number one, I think this needs a little bit more context, a little bit more world building.
How many did you see?
I saw 2.
Okay. So
I saw 2. And so in these 2 episodes, I would say I'm halfway through. So that's not a good sign where I'm wanting more world building and it's lacking. Is it required? No, but I think in this, since it's only 4 episodes, it needs it. Number two, first episode is very good, got me engaged, but then the second episode, I think it started falling into some cinema, some of the bad TV show trope, convenience of getting information, being at the right place at the right time, all of a sudden ascending to some sort of power. And like, wait a minute. This is one day later. I mean, come on, guys, come on, really?
No, yeah,
And first episode, I mean, I'm gonna spoil it. Sorry, spoilers. First episode, her motivation for the last 8 years was to find her son. She got separated, and so and obviously now we know it's 8 years later. So that's a long time to be missing your child and to finally figure out a way to get in.
She did mention she was looking at other areas.
Okay.
Yeah, she did mention that.
And for 8 years.
Yeah, she thought he escaped, and she was looking at different areas, and finally, so to be fair, so that was set up. But yeah,
but it is a big jump, and that's fine. You never gonna stop looking for your child. I get it. But then from the time that she gets there and finds out, that he's there and he's alive, to all of a sudden at 2, she's all of a sudden a major power deciding, things for this area. I'm like, wait, that's a big leap for one day. And it is one day, because the first day she had 22 hours.
Sure.
And then ends where she gets to Kate to go back, and then she all of a sudden realizes her son's still alive, and she turns around, right? And so, the second episode is day 2 or a few days afterwards, right? Not much time, because in the first episode, they talk about these elections, right? So, this is all very condensed. And all of a sudden, she's now thrust into a position of power. And and that's why that's my biggest beef right now through 2 episodes. That was just this very convenient. It wasn't developed well enough. And I think because it's 4 episodes, I don't think they took time to really get into that or try to structure it or write in a way that made sense to me. That's my issue.
Yeah, I've seen 3 actually. Correct. So I saw 2 initially, and I enjoyed it. I was like, okay, this is good. I didn't know it was 4 episodes at the time. I saw the third one, and the third one was probably the best episode, I think. Like, really action packed. There's a very warrior-esque kind of fight in there, not to that degree, of course, but something that happens, like, oh shit, and like, wow, I liked how it ended, right? For episode 3. Then I found out it was 4 episodes. I'm like, whoa.
Where's the rest?
Okay, so it's gonna wrap up in one more episode. It seems like a lot to chew on. So obviously it does. I assume it does a good job. I don't know, but I was enjoying the show. But you're right. As soon as I heard it was 4, I'm like, ooh, okay, that could change your perspective, right? You're thinking, okay, we have plenty of time to explore and dig deeper and blah blah blah. Apparently not. So that kind of bothered me. I'm like, I'm not saying it's a bad show. I still enjoy watching, and the third episode is good. But I'm curious to see how this one ends up. Maybe we'll talk about that next week as far as did it wrap up well, or yes, did it suffer from it being too short, which is something that we usually don't say. Most of the times we're saying it's too long. We rarely say this was too short, right? But 4 episodes, that's concern. I agree with you there. I don't think this is going to wrap up or give it the time to, especially what happened in episode 3, that to digest, right? And to really build off that, as opposed to just, okay, it's a race to the finish line now. So I'm concerned with that. I did enjoy it.
And there is no season 2. This is a limited series, so.
Right. Yeah, exactly. This is the finale. It ends. That's it. All right. It's a miniseries. Is what it was billed at. I just was not aware that going into it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. There's concerns that I'll reserve judgment till I see the last one to see if indeed it was. I think it's too short, but maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe it wraps up a certain way. I don't know. Maybe whatever. It's set up for a second season. I doubt it, but let's see. But yeah, it's fine. I enjoy it. Like I said, not knowing the first 2, I was really liking it. That kind of bummed me out. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. So we'll probably jump on this one next week to see if the 4 was indeed too short or not. The other HBO show we didn't talk about. We mentioned it briefly. I forgot this was coming out. That was coming out next week, and that's Minx, a comedy 30-minute show, which is short. We got it just takes place in the 70s,
1971.
Right. So yeah, so we got the women's movement kicking in gear. We got one, obviously the disparity, the gap between men and women in rights and all, it was vast, as vast as we've ever seen, right? So we have this woman who, it's all about feminism. She's trying to get a magazine going, right, to promote that. Unsuccessfully, not surprised. She's a woman. It's a man's world, but let's just be honest. Picking that time, and then she ends up running into a publisher who does publish magazines of questionable moral value. Porn mags, right? If he was, he's not Larry Flint, but he's that kind of character, right? And he gives an opportunity to work with him to create a magazine where she can put her content, but still have attract those, particularly women, because obviously most of the magazines are for guys, but do a porno for a woman instead. So it's gonna be a whole lot of schlong, and there is a whole lot of schlong out there.
Oh my! That first episode, I was like, oh,
Schlong.
gratuitous, peacock.
There's a lot of cotton going around, which is fine. Listen, a lot of sword fighting. But to be fair, for those who are, and that might not interest you, I get it. But listen, there's a lot of TNA too, right? But by no means, this is not a show that leans into the porn. It doesn't. This is a comedy. It leans more into the relationships between the both of them trying to build that business together, get it going. And I kind of like this one, man. I enjoyed this one. It's good characters.
Funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's well made, good situations. Yeah, the guy who owns the magazine, he's great. I forgot his name.
We've seen him in. He's a comic. We've seen him. I don't know, so many different TV shows and stuff. He was like in that with that show Zoe Deschanel comedy that was out for a number of years on Fox. I can't remember what it's called. That girl, this girl, I don't know. But he was on there. He's been on so many different movies and stuff, and he's really a funny guy.
Yeah, I'm looking at him. He's really good. Jake Johnson, there we go.
Yes.
Like I said, he has done. He always reminds me of Oscar Isaac for some reason. But he was in Tag.
He reminds me of being in Always Sunny Philip, but it's not him.
right. Yeah, 21 Jump Street.
Tag. Oh, that's an underrated comedy, man. That's funny.
Yeah, New Girl's the show you were talking about.
New Girl, thank you.
Yeah, so it's really good, man. It's funny. I enjoyed it. I like the character. I like what they're building here. It's kind of took me by surprise. I was just like, it's gonna be a throwaway show, and I'm like,
this was much better. This was a nice surprise as versus the Flags of Our Death. Our Flag Means Death, where we expected to be really good, and it wasn't.
Right.
And this one, we had no expectation, and it turned out to be very funny, very enjoyable, very relevant. Yeah. Not really in your face, but just kind of laying out how it was at that time. And this interaction and trying to make it in the man's world.
Yeah, and I like how she kind of turns that in her favor in terms of how she presents. Even like they're doing the spread, right? And they got the guy to be the centerfold, whatever. And early in the show, we've seen this all the time back in the day. That's kind of how it was. I go walk by a construction site, and all the guys, hey, mama, what's up? And they're talking down to her, all that sexually. So she takes that and flips it around where she uses the guy as a construction worker, but the women are gawking at it or getting stuff at him. So that was kind of cool. She kind of flipped it around. But it's well done, man. I enjoyed this. This is a good watch for me. I think this is a high recommend for me on HBO Max. I think every Thursday, 30-minute shows. That one's that's a high recommend. I think I'm
2 episodes per week. I think is what they're dropping the comedy. That's what you use the comedies.
Exactly. So it's probably 6 to 8. I'm guessing 8 episodes.
Yeah, but it's funny stuff.
Yeah, but really well done.
The one joke I will mention where he's talking about the Irishman. So you see that bridge over there? I bet that bridge. They call me the bridge maker. No. But I fucked one sheep.
That's right. It's got some good raunchy humor, but not to a degree what's going to really offend anybody. I don't think.
I cannot stop laughing.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's got some good lines in it. It's got some funny stuff. I mean, it's not like you're not gonna be laughing throughout the whole show. Let me get that straight. But it's good.
No, it's a dramedy. It's a dramedy.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of situational comedy.
The comedic elements hit in trying to world build her vision and her adventure to become a successful writer, publisher, magazine.
Right, and it's odd. She's trying to be a serious journalist or writer in a magazine geared for pornographic material. So, it's just a juxtaposition there, and that's what makes it kind of show funny. So I enjoyed it. It's a watch for me. This next one, I know Chewy didn't watch it. I said I was going to check it out, see how it went. That's on Netflix. Polish show. We don't say Polish show here very often. We don't get many of those. I don't think I'm ever seeing a Polish show. Maybe I have.
I've seen a couple.
Okay. So not too familiar. So Cracow Monsters. This is one where it's not a horror. It's more of a mystery thriller kind of thing. You have this young girl. She's first year in college. She's disturbed, if you will, a lot of issues. A lot of stuff happened when she was young, which it kind of allude to. And she seems to have some kind of a supernatural ability she's unaware of to some degree. And she is interested in getting into this course with this one renowned professor who's into forensic science. That's his alibi, I guess. And when she is accepted, she learns that he's housing these other students who have other abilities, psychic or otherwise, more supernatural stuff. And the girl who's confused on what's going on, she discovers that there's demons or gods, whatever, roaming around this in a certain degree, and she's trying to figure out how she mixed into it. At the same time, now involving herself with the team as they're trying to stop whatever is going on from happening. So, interesting premise. Way were produced. Like I said, I'm unfamiliar with Polish shows, but the production is good. There's a cool scene with one of the couple of the demons. It looked really cool.
Okay.
It's really well done. It's actually as much better than I thought. I thought this was going to be hot garbage. I really did. I think that I'll watch it. This is going to be terrible. And I expected some cheesy or just leaning too much into this supernatural elements to it. And it doesn't. It keeps it very dark. It's a nice tone to it. Good mystery. I'm not saying this is a show's going to change anyone's world, but at the end of the day, but it's not a bad watch if you like that kind of. Sounds like your kind of thing. You know, the demonic possessions, and it's like I think I saw 3 episodes. The one really builds the war, right? What happened between the good demon, the gods, and these two deities, and the factions that develop, and when the earth was created afterwards, et cetera, et cetera. So that was pretty cool. I like that introduction of that. That's good world building, which lacked in Black Crab, and to some degree in DMZ as well. Setting the table. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It's good, not great, but if this sounds like your kind of show, I'm recommending it. Again, there's always a lot of hidden gems in these foreign shit, man. That's why we like to watch this stuff, because you just never know on that one. So it's a recommend for me on that one. I know Chewy didn't watch it, so I won't even ask you. The last one on Apple Plus. This one, I assume you watch. Apple Plus has been on a roll. They're going streaking right through the quad. They've been dropping shows left and right. They've all been pretty good.
And we got some more shows coming up next week.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, and so they got a long string of hopefully good shows come.
Yeah, and they've been doing good, man. With Autonomy Gray, which I'm enjoying. Severance.
I wish they would spread them out a bit, man. Because I remember to watch like 2 or 3 shows weekly on Fridays. I'm like, right.
Yeah,
they I don't want a buffet, man. Give me a meal, let me swallow, give me the next course.
It's like your mom putting more food in your plate. Yeah, and you finish what you eat. Can I finish what's on the plate? You go to a restaurant with the meat, I said in Spanish, but they come with the little sticks with the different kinds of meat. You have the little red green card.
Yeah, the Brazilian steakhouse.
Yeah, you put it on red and still coming with more shit, dude. Can I eat? I wish the Apple Plus would do like Tuesday, Wednesday. There's 6 other days in the week. You don't have to do it every Friday, right?
I like what they're doing, but they need to spread it out somehow.
I completely agree.
It's like
because I find myself watching the shows I've been watching before. I watch them and I can stack today on Sundays, for example, to catch up. But I like to spread the love a little bit. But either way, they're on the streak. Autonomy Gray, Severance, After Party, Foundation, Suspicion, a lot of good stuff on the roll. So I'm looking forward to. We have Jared Leto, Academy Award-winning Jared Leto. I believe Academy Award-winning Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, he won for his role in.
He did. He has Dyer's. No, wait. Was it that one?
Dallas Buyers.
Dallas Right. And I believe Anne Hathaway's won. At least been nominated. Les Mis.
I know she's been nominated. I'm not sure if she won.
Right.
But yes.
But at least she's been recognized. But yeah. So
A-list actors.
No, look, they're A-list actors, and so they star as. It's a true story about the company WeWork in early part of 2010s. What this Jared Leto plays, I think his last name Adam something, but
Andrew.
Andrew. Okay, and he's eccentric to say least, but he had a vision to create.
He's charismatic.
Listen, this guy's like a salesman to the 9th degree, and the show does a good job portraying that. But he developed, I guess, a kind of real estate. He's in real. I guess you have to narrow down be real estate, right? Creating this kind of office space where it's very communitive. Driven.
Yeah, it was commercial real estate, but it was like, whereas you own the building and you lease out the building, and it was traditional, for 100 years, right? It was a certain way. You bought a building, you leased the building, you built it out, but it's traditional office, cubicles, whatever. That was it. All part of a company. And so what he developed and built up, and I'm not sure if he was the first, but obviously probably the most successful at that time, was to more of a communal sharing type of thing where you didn't have to have one company in a floor. You could or you have it segregated. It was just basically open concepts, right? And sharing of different companies, different people, whether it was one person or 5 people or however, you can rent space as needed and compensate, but it was more of a family type environment, and kind of opening up the ideas between even companies that didn't necessarily work together, but just open up ideas back and forth. And that's what he's trying to promote.
Yeah, it appealed a lot to the young folk at the day, the millennials of the time, and obviously startup companies. It was perfect for this, right? This demographic who he's reaching for.
Even individuals, right? You didn't have to have 100 people to have office space. You could be 1 or 2 person and needed somewhere to work and be in this type of environment.
Exactly, and have that kind of community. So it made sense. And this guy sold it like nobody's business. How he built this, this business and so forth and all that. So, and Anne Hathaway is obviously playing his wife. So let's focus on this love story. They're great together. I'm not saying it's a great show. I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm loving it. It was fine. It was good. It was okay. It's an interesting story. We kind of know what happens. In the beginning, they kind of pretty much tell you what happened. He got voted out of because his behavior was, I guess, a little bit much for the investors to kind of
traditional Wall Street, yeah.
Right. So so he was booted out. I think at the time the company was valued at $47 billion before the IPO came out. I read later it was devalued down to $10 billion.
Well, they didn't have
initially.
Well, obviously we're trying to spoil it, but this is relatively current events.
Yes, it's been a couple years.
This company is still around.
They're still around. Right.
This is not like Theranos, right? This is not that.
Oh no, they're still going on. They're still doing what they do. Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely. It's just run by somebody else.
Yes, yeah, it was acquired by one of the main investors, SoftBank, and then they went to an IPO through a SPAC and whatnot. So,
right.
But he tried to get it to do IPO before all this stuff happened, and he got voted out and stuff, but it kind of brings to the question: what is the true valuation of a company, an idea, right? Because you read the first episode. His original idea, they went to concept, it worked, right? Then they got bought out, or they wanted to do it, bigger and better, and until they got buy us out so we can go somewhere else, right? And then they got this other investor who basically, if nothing, at least on the show, with no backing, no financials, said this is a $45 million idea. And he said, okay, I'll give you $15 to invest. Give me a third. Jeez. Is it that easy? But you get the idea. So this is more akin to how sometimes these valuation of companies just go ridiculously high with no apparent fundamentals or reason. But I mean, it was a great idea, and it's still around. It worked.
Yeah, it worked. So it wasn't worth $47 billion, but I think that speaks to just during that time frame, right? The early 2000s, and we've seen shows like obviously with the Dropout, for example, where these companies, Silicon Valley, and just everyone just getting excited. Investors looking for the next big thing, right? They don't want to miss out on the next starter company. Mm-hmm. So they just the pendulum swings
they don't
one
want to miss
way,
out
right?
The next Netflix, the next Uber, the next
yes.
Amazon, whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Everyone wants a piece of the action before it gets too big for them to get a piece of the action. So it speaks to everyone, just which is why these overvaluations happen all the time, right? Especially because everybody wants to jump in, right? It is what it is. We don't want to be the one that missed out. That's essentially. But it's like I said, it's fine. I enjoyed it. It's not one of the better shows, but it's not a bad show. I'm liking it. I'm going to keep watching it. It's a good story. It's a true story. Leto and Arthur are really good in it. So they're worth the price of admission as far as I'm concerned. And it's well done. Like I said, I think this show being released weekly is good for it, right? It's not a show I would probably binge.
No. It's better suited for a weekly drop.
Or a weekly drop. It's like, all right, let me see. Okay, cool. All right. And then kind of enjoy the ride and why his rise with the company and what he did to kind of get him on the outs, essentially. Because he's an interesting character. He kind of always grew like a cult status with, his employees or whatever they call it, until I heard from what I read, they got fed up with his bullshit at some point. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's a good watch.
Yeah. But don't feel sorry for this guy. He's still a billionaire. So
no, come on.
He didn't do anything criminal. He did nothing criminal.
He's fine,
from what I could see.
No.
He's fine.
Exactly.
He still made it.
He did it legit, right? He sold. He built his company like any good businessman should do, right? You gotta pump it up. You gotta advertise. This wasn't like the Dropout, right? Where there was something nefarious going on, and he's just all.
It was an idea. It was never a concept. It was just an idea.
Exactly.
And it never worked.
Yeah.
And that was where people foolishly wanted to believe in the idea so badly. They didn't do the due diligence and see if this was actually for real or not.
Yeah, this what he did works. To what level, that's debatable, but it worked.
Yeah,
right. It's a business, a concept that worked. Yeah, and there's no underhanded tricks. He's not a bad guy. He's not portrayed in the show. He's just an eccentric. Again, he's out there, right?
Eccentric, charismatic,
and smart,
enthusiastic, very smart.
Yeah. People invested in him, not the company. At the end of the day, that's what they always say, right? Invest in the person, right? The one who's so believes what he's doing. Right?
I mean, you see it on Shark Tank all the time, right?
Yeah.
Where it may not be good, but they invest. One of the reasons they invest is because of the person running it.
Right, they have confidence and who's doing. Yes. Yeah, any idea can any idea could work and not work. Depends on who's running it. Right, it is what it is. Right, a lot of great ideas I'm sure never came to fruition. That's some shitty ideas that did it. at least for a short term, it worked because of the person behind it, right? So, and this is one where it was a good idea, not a great, it was a good idea that worked because he was a driving force of this business. And that wasn't in the idea, it was him. So, like I said, it's an interesting story. It's good. It's well done. It's very slick, well produced. I enjoyed it. You know, and it's a good weekly watch. This is not one I recommend binging. I don't think it holds your attention to that degree. But listen, Apple Plus, I still consider it a good show. So, you know, I think there's Apple Plus still in the role. I mean, they're coming strong. I never thought that was gonna happen a couple years ago. Yeah, I was wrong about that. They are there. I mean, they're you know, no one's gonna pass Netflix. At least not now. And I'll keep saying it again. This is definitely a third, maybe catching up to HBO as far as I'm concerned. You know, not quite.
They're putting up more. Well, I mean, at least right now in this snapshot of time, they're putting up more quality.
Yes.
But it's now it's getting to the quantity.
Yeah.
Right. Because I mean, like, it seems like every couple of weeks they got something new coming out.
Right.
Like in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Which one?
They have. It looks like a very good thriller crime British called Slow Horses with Gary Oldman. So they bring up the big guns as far as star power.
No, they are. These projects are. These are known actresses. You know, big ticket guys or women who are in these shows and developing the shows. Kudos to them, dude, because they're doing a role. I mean, at least for right now, at least for the last 2 months, right? Can't remember last time I said Apple Plus, don't watch an Apple Plus show. It's at least not this year, even a lot of last year. So, yeah, man, HBO has been kind of up and down. They're still good. I love HBO, and it's still second place for me. Apple Plus, man, I'm telling you, you're right. The next couple of months, they're releasing a bunch of shit. I'm kind of curious if you continue this streak. This is a good show. It's just not a great one, but it's still a good show. It's still worth to watch anyway. Next week, and that being said, listen, if you're new to Apple Plus or you get it, if you don't have Apple Plus, get a free the 5-day or 7-day, 30-day subscription, whatever it is. I think it's cheap. The first 30 days is free or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Catch some of these shows.
You get 7 days for free because you can. I mean, they have so many shows you can go back and watch. Yeah. Obviously, I like C. You're not a big fan of C. I'm a big fan of C and Jason Momoa.
Sure.
But we had For All Mankind with Joel Kinnaman, which is a very good show. We had Foundation, right, with a whole slew of actors. We had The After Party, which I mean, great comedy, right? Lord Miller, plus all this current stuff, Tiffany, and they have a number of other shows that I've been trying to catch up on that have been around for a number of seasons. So they've made the investment. There's plenty to watch if you want to
Ted
dip
Lasso,
and check it out.
Ted Lasso.
How can I forget Ted Lasso?
The best comedy on TV as far as I'm concerned. That was the last couple of seasons. So listen, this Apple Plus is legit. You guys should definitely check it out. No question. Even Severance, which we'll probably talk about in a couple of weeks, is a really good show that came out recently. But next week's a light show. So again, this is a time for you to catch up on some of this stuff that we've seen. And we'll touch on some of these shows next week for you guys as far as what you guys should go back and watch if you've missed it. We got 3 shows. We're probably definitely talking about one. For sure we're talking about one. I know one for sure we're not talking about. And the other one's a maybe. And the maybe comes out tonight. And that's a show called Amsterdam. Tonight on HBO Max. It's I really understand it's a 30-minute kind of comedy. I'm watching it. We're considering watching it because Mexican actress, Mexican-made show, I believe. Actor's Mexican, so Latin. I gotta give him a shot. I got my brother in a shot here, so I'm gonna support that. It's supposed to be about a couple in relationship going through some issues and kind of navigating those waters. But it's supposed to be in a comedic way. Amsterdam, it's the name of the street. I thought it was like, it takes place in Amsterdam. I don't know, natural thought. But no, I guess the street that they live on or something like that. So it looks interesting. I'm gonna check it out. Again, I support it. I'll probably watch. It's only 30 minutes, so I'll probably give it a gander sometime this week, as it is a light week. The one we're definitely talking about, obviously, is Thursday the 24th, Paramount Plus. We don't say that very often. And that's Halo. Infinite. It's not Halo, that's the game. Sorry, it's just Halo. A series on Halo based on the video games, popular video games, of course, I used to play back in the day.
Nick Schreiber as Master Chief.
Master Chief and Company, the Covenant, all the stuff. Cortana, etc. For those who are familiar with the
game. The Halo, etc.
Right. It's supposed to be it's a sci-fi. It's a sci-fi action. I think a lot of the early reviews have been coming out. It's been kind of mixed. I'm seeing some mixed stuff on it, so I don't know what to make of it yet. So I don't know. I assume 2-3 episodes drop. I guess we'll talk about that next week. But that one looks cool. It looks. But they hear consistent. The production is great. That's the most important thing. You have a sci-fi show. You gotta come with at least visually anyway. The last one, which I know we're not talking about, but there's fans of the show, so we'll bring it up so you guys are aware that it's coming out. That's the 25th. It's Friday, Netflix. That's season 2 of Bridgerton. Exactly. Not for us, not for me. but it doesn't mean you guys aren't watching. People watching out there, and if you didn't know, oh, I didn't know it's coming out. There you go. Season 2 dropping on Friday. So that's it. It's a light week. So go back and check out some of these shows that you haven't seen. You get a chance to kind of catch your breath. Me and Chewy catch our breath, as I'm sure April is primed to.
Well, I don't know about catching her because there's so much stuff I gotta keep watching. I mean, today I got Outlander and Shiny
That's what I'm saying. A lot of
Bell
shows that we can watch.
Tomorrow, Snowpiercer. Wednesday, some other stuff. Thursday, we have the whole Paramount, and then Friday, all the Apple. And like, so it's not I got nothing to watch. It's
no, watch. It's a good time to catch up and show you
watching. Keep watching Winning Time, which I'm loving. So
Winning Time's a good show. I'm watching that Dirty Black Bag on AMC Plus. I'm seeing the second episode.
Oh yeah,
I'm seeing that second one today. I haven't seen the second
Killing
one.
Eve, obviously.
Killing Eve,
so we get plenty of.
There's tons of stuff to be watching there for you guys who are unaware. Check out prior episodes. That being said, every here Sunday midday, subscribe, like, share, let everybody know there's a show to watch.
Hold on. I got a bone to pick with you and this other show in this network that as Eric the Seventh referenced our show and some other show on this network. You guys were talking about Kenobi, the trailer on your show Thursday, and obviously the news about that Maul was excluded or had been written out, right? And you talked about how in Rebels there was this great scene with Maul versus Kenobi, and I'm gonna be on this side of the fence. That was the worst Jedi fight scene of all time, and I'm sick and tired of Eric being apologist for Star Wars. It was garbage. It was in Rebels. They built up that relationship and the fighting for all those seasons. Kenobi versus Maul. And they built it up, dude. All these episodes, and what we got on, and Eric's like, all this emotional, dude. It was a 2-second fight, and it was over and done. I was like, brother, please.
There's a lot of alcohol, so that could have had an effect on everyone's opinions in that show. I rather say it could be very, very true. Very true.
A letdown and disappointment, and I wish they would tear that up, and they should have brought him here and made him fight for real, because this is not Jedi versus a Padawan. I mean, this is Jedi versus Jedi, dude.
Listen, I agree. Which is why I was.
And like, I'm ready. It's over. Like, did I blink? Did I miss something? Did I fast forward?
That's why I was, hoping to see him in this show. That's in my position. Yes. So, listen, that's a different good off topic. But listen, Rebels. I don't care if it's canon or not.
Because I don't care what anyone says or any other Star Wars apologist out there says. That was hot garbage. It was not worth the hype. It was disappointing. It was written poorly, and that's on Filoni, because that was his baby, and it was not a good. It was a good show, but that was just ridiculously stupid.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, I guess that's why I want to see Maul again. But I wish I blamed Kathleen Kennedy. It's her call at the end of the day. Whatever, the show sucks.
And no offense to Eric, but batting 500, that ain't good enough for Star Wars. Okay, it's not. Say that she's. Because you guys were going through how many good movies and shows versus how many bad movies and shows.
I call him out.
And you got 4 or 3. It's like, wait a minute, you guys didn't mention Solo? Forget about it. Never mind that these were not commercial successes, because she spent 2 or 3 times redoing this stuff, so they weren't commercial successes. But regardless, your Star Wars, you can't be batting 500. This isn't baseball, okay? You gotta be.
I know way below 500 as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. He's definitely more on that side.
Absolutely.
Listen to me. Maybe batting 25 to 250. She's batting 250. And that's actually not. I think 250 because in baseball is actually pretty good. She's 25% as far as I'm concerned, which is not good. But look, Obi-Wan.
I'm hopeful. The trailer had me excited, but we thought the same thing for Boba Fett, and what do we got? It was better when it was Mandalorian season 3 than Boba Fett season 1.
No, even there. It was Mandalorian 2.5. That's what it was. The last 2 of the episodes. Yeah. So I'm with 100%. I'm hopeful. Hopeful. We'll take a deep dive into Obi-Wan that comes out. I guess
But if you guys want
really curious about
conversation, watch Nerd Explaining on Thursdays on YouTube and on Instagram and all this stuff. See, I plug your show the right way, Eric.
Every Thursday.
You got Nurse Thing. Every Sunday you have Watchlist, and we can digest on our show a little bit better than a show. Just saying.
All the reviews coming out this week and all that. Movie reviews I get to watch early. I'll put them on the channel as well. We got 2 movies coming up next week. One, We Don't Give a Fuck, Lost City. The other one's called Everything Everywhere at Once. incredibly curious about the film. I'm gonna watch it on next Thursday. I'll drop a review. That's kind of a multiverse kind of thing. It's not a Marvel thing. I forgot starring I forgot her name, who was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, who's also in the Eternals. I forget her name. She's wonderful.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. It's really, really cool. So we'll talk about that again Thursday. But either way, forget Sundays, midday, subscribe, check us out every week. Appreciate it. See you guys next time.
Peace.